Guess what I just got in the mail? This is the Roxxon Flex. This is a modular multi-tool having a lot of different components that we'll talk about, and is a plier-based multi-tool from a company called Roxxon. Now this isn't going to come out for a few months, but I figured we'd begin the conversation. So before we get started, let me say that first, I got a chance to look at this at SHOT Show. I spent some time there really playing with it, but there's still a lot of things up in the air. And we have to assume that this one right here, this model, is the best case scenario. This is the perfect version of it, right? Because it was sent directly from the company as a pre-production sample. Now, here's what I really like about this tool. There is a problem with modular tools in general. There tends to be more play, right? And potentially you might have a difficulty keeping the tools in the handles. Well, what they have done here is actually made it so you can't deploy the tools as long as these locks are present. So it's a secondary feature that's tucked in below that allows it to lock in place. There's like basically a metal bar that gets slid and kind of prevents it from moving. That's what you have here. So it is very easy to do one-handed. So if that's locked, unlock, and then to deploy, you take the bar right here, you take this little button and you press up. Now notice what happens is we actually have the small implements get further deployed pretty far, and then the big one just barely comes out. And actually I have no problem opening that with one hand without even the nail nick. It's not particularly strongly held in at that point, which is why they have that extra lock. There is some detent. There is a detent of sorts. I can feel it right there, like it's right, and then it overcomes it. So there is some sort of detent to some extent, but it's not like super strong. So it definitely doesn't require the nail nick, which I like. Scissor. I got to play with this already, and I'm telling you, this is one of the best scissors I have seen in a multi-tool not named Victorinox. This thing is precise at the tip, very precise, like really precise, very good cutting geometry, decently, like well heat treated 4116 stainless. And oh, so let me show you how this unlocks. So this is currently locked in place. You press it backwards like so. Oh, sorry, I went too far. I jumped the gun here. Let me show you something. So you go to unlock, you press a little bit and then it unlocks. Now, since we already did this, and I'll go ahead and show you. So if I open up the tool and I take like this tool right here, which is a small implement, I take it out, it locks. You unlock it by going a little bit and then it'll close. But if you go further, notice that the lock actually stays out and unlocks, allowing the blade to go further, which allows you to take out the tool. You actually do need to have something filled in there, otherwise it'll just do that. So that's the one thing about modular multi-tools. You're gonna have to have the space occupied, and all of them have to be a identical thickness for the most part, or some ratio of like 1 or 2 millimeters, something that is a whole number, if you will. So then the tool could come out, and then you put the tool back in. So see, notice that the lock is still in its open position. So let me do something here. I think it's probably easier to fan them out a little bit and then unlock it maybe. This is one of those things I'm gonna have to learn. And then I have to go back. I forgot it's completely reversed. I have to go past the point and then it's locked in and then it's there. Oh, okay, all right. You know, I didn't play with it that much, I'll be honest. I had a little bit of time and it was pretty cool, but I didn't like actually play with the mechanism all that much when I was there. So in the sample they have here, we have a large flathead, can opener, bottle opener. This is, for me, if I was gonna do this, I would get rid of the bottle opener on that flathead entirely, and I would change this to a hybrid opener, the same way that the Leatherman Wave is, where it's a can opener, bottle opener combination. That way we have a stronger flathead, as well as, you know, just having just a better overall design. Now, this does give me a secondary two-dimensional Phillips and or a small flathead. This is almost identical, at least from the way it looks. Yeah, it actually almost is identical to the shape that you'll see on a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. That's actually not a bad thing because those do work really well. But you know, I do think that that's something that Leatherman has over Victorinox. Like, I like having a flathead be a flathead. Still not bad though. It's just would be a little stronger. Now look at that Phillips. That's the way it should be. Not bad, not bad at all. I've seen quite a bit worse. Very robust, and this is how your bit extender, your little bit converter will work. It'll attach to the Phillips driver. So there's 4 tools on this side, and then there is 5 tools on this side. Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. Now currently it's locked. Notice that you can't get the tools out. You have to unlock it first, push this out. We have on this side a reamer awl, the small file, and another flathead. But at least thankfully it's only on one side, and it's a cross cut, not a straight cut, which is definitely preferable. It's actually not even, it's not a bad file at all. I mean, if they actually deliver on this, that's a decent file. It's actually a decent file, surprisingly. This one has a pull cutter. Now, my recommendation to them was to, I forgot about this till they sent it. Notice that the sharpened edge is all the way out to here. It really should stop about there, because this tool is definitely not TSA legal. So if this was your one package opening tool and you set the rest up bladeless, this would not work because the blade's still accessible down here. You need to kind of just make it that top corner. And it's not particularly sharp down here. It's just the thing. Now, this tool is awesome. It's a chisel. It's a wire stripper. And hopefully what they'll do is they'll add that little package opening notch right there, which I really like on the Victorinox Swiss Army knife. What's the name? The Swiss Tool Spirit. That's the one that I really like. Now, the other thing that I like about it is you notice that you have the long blade. This is a two-handed opening blade that's installed. It's sort of got that butter knife kind of shape. I don't actually have a problem with this. It's sort of a non-threatening shape, which honestly bodes well for it being accepted by more people, I think. Either way, it's perfectly fine, and I actually like the draw cutting capability. How easy is it to open? Can I open it one-handed is the question. I mean, not really. I mean, I technically could. No, not really. Okay, so they are not releasing, they probably are not going to have a one-handed blade on release, but it should absolutely be possible with this tool. So let me see. If I were having it here, okay, so the pocket clip would end up being on the wrong side because the long tool has to be on this side. And will this flip around is the question. I don't know if the scissor is ambidextrous. We'll have to play with that. Maybe do that at a later time, or maybe we'll do it right now. They think they're a different thickness as well, potentially. We'll play with that in a little bit. This could end up being a very long video if we get too involved. I'm trying to decide if we want to really play around and change things out. And I think we might do a little bit of that, but first let's go through what we have on the tool, and then we'll kind of use it as a separate section. So here's the pliers. It has replaceable cutters. Now, as of right now, you can't buy these replaceable cutters on their website. And that's something I've talked to them about. They need to do that. If there's no point in having them be replaceable if there's not, you can't actually replace them, right? Makes sense. Either that or they need to come with a spare set at bare minimum. So I do like the changes to the pliers over some of their other tools. This is a bit more robust compared to the ones they had. That was something I noticed immediately with the new design. And actually, it looks like it's finished really well, like surprisingly well for an $80 tool. So in case you didn't catch that, the price on release will be $80 MSRP. I don't know if there will be any coupons. If there is a discount, I will let you know. But as of right now, that is the tool set that it's going to come with. Now that's subject to change. My recommendation, I think, would probably be to Yeah, wow, words. Swap out the file in here for the diamond file, so you have something you can technically use to sharpen the knife, which I don't know, something about that just seems satisfying to be able to, okay, it's really dull as a butter knife, I just need to put a rudimentary edge on something, diamond file, right? And because there's only 2 long implements, you need to have a small one. Now, while we're here, let me just get a couple quick dimensions. So this is coming in at my eyesight right now. That's going to be 17 millimeters wide, approximately, from handle to handle. And that's the dimension I really want to know. And the best thing to do is to kind of do a comparison. Let me see if I can find my Leatherman Wave here. Aha, it's right here. That was convenient. So this is the Leatherman Wave. Now, the Leatherman Wave is actually just so slightly lighter. So this is 8.6 ounces. Supposedly this is 9 ounces. I was going to test the weight, but I changed my mind. And we're just going to save some time here. Now this one is 18 millimeters. 17.8, something like that. So this is similar in dimension to a Leatherman Wave, very similar, if not identical, but is a little bit longer. So it's kind of very reminiscent of the difference with the Victorinox Spirit, but it has a lot fewer tools in order to incorporate the mechanism necessary to run the whole tool. Now, that we're going to do comparisons beyond just weight very soon in a separate video. We're already at 11 minutes and we haven't even tried swapping things out yet. So let's go ahead and try that. So I want to say, let's say I don't want to have this file, like I was saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the tool, unlock it there, push this all the way back, and then pop that out. And that's it. Now notice the lock actually locks back with the front piece right here, not in this slot, which is really good. That's why it's so secure. That's why it feels really good. Now I'm gonna put this in like so, rotate, and then, okay, that's actually way easier than I expected that to be. Okay, and then now it's deployed. And I can fan them and boom. This is really easy to use, I have to say. Yes, it doesn't currently have a one-handed blade, but that's absolutely something that can be done. Okay, so let me do the long tool now. So we'll take out this blade. So we're gonna go unlock, I'm gonna lock it, and then I'm gonna fully push it all the way back. Now this is actually, I think, why it's actually bowed. It has an added advantage of being very ergonomic, but it needs the space, as you can see. Now let's take out that blade, and I want to put in, say, the serrated blade. And then I'll scoot that in, rotate that around, lock that, and then we're ready to, that's it. It does, that feels really well thought through. I need some time to formulate some thoughts on this, but this feels a whole lot less fiddly than I expected it to, I'll be honest. And even though I played with it at SHOT Show, it just, maybe I forgot, I don't know. But this feels very well thought out in how the mechanism works. I have so many thoughts. I need to spend some time with it and kind of go with it. I'm going to, let's see what else we're gonna do. I think we should just end it there. I'm sure we're gonna be having dozens of questions on this thing that I will try to follow up with. So this will be a first video. Please leave any questions that you have about this thing, anything I could possibly answer or pass on, and we'll go from there, because frankly, I have a lot of questions. I also just want to point one thing that we didn't talk about yet. This is really cool. It's actually a scalpel holder. Now this actually fits in the long implements right here, but it is my hope that he will actually make a shorter version that will fit into the small section. So it'll only probably take a number 10 or number 11 scalpel blade. But I like the idea of having this installed without a blade, right? And so you could always get a number 11 scalpel blade as an option. And you can then take this out and you can use it with your hands to, you know, do something intricate if you wanted to as well. This does have some drawbacks. We'll have to talk about that a later bit. The big thing for me is it's the same weight or similar weight as Leatherman Wave, but actually has fewer tools. It only has 2 long tools, but I think what it's gaining may end up overcoming it potentially. First of all, ergonomics on this thing is insane. So comfortable. Spring-loaded pliers, that's going to be a big difference. People are going to like that quite a bit. Now notice when I do that, right? That's something that tools like the Leatherman Free P4, which is much more expensive, has, or the Leatherman Arc. All of them have that. But if we do that, and that's why we have the locks. Honestly, it's such a simple process to unlock it. If you're deploying it, I mean, you're basically unlocking it anyway. Now notice that I'm working the other side with the back of my hand, so I can easily just slide that down, and then with any finger, you can feel it. It's slightly raised above the frame. First look, I'm really quite impressed. I think this is going to be a very interesting piece that people are definitely going to want to try. That's pretty much it. I'm going to stop there. Leave all your questions, and we will pick up where we left off in the next video. Thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.